I have collected a tier list here of all the Dark Souls 1 bosses, and I'm going to rank them based on how hard I think they were to beat, and also based on how much I like them, and maybe we can also do like how hot they are. In a recent thumbnail, you kind of reminded me of the asparagus from VeggieTales. Which one? The hot one? Is there a hot asparagus? I have to say that Gravelord Nito is, for me personally, when I did it blind, the hardest boss. He was just incredibly difficult. He was absolute. Yeah, nightmares about that guy. Just an evil, horrible guy. He did things to my mental and my psyche that no other video game boss ever had. Number 2, I think in terms of difficulty, I have to give it up to Ornstein and Smough. It is a toss-up, I think, between Ornstein and Smough and Manus. Manus is very difficult because, like, the problem with a boss like Manus is that you just don't get to live for very long. And when you don't get to live for very long, like he puts you in the blender instantly, then there's problems, right? There's problems because you can't start the learning process. Yeah, and the run back, like, unless you know that skip to jump the stairs, God. It's butt. And Manus's run back is also butt. But this is where we use logic and realize that actually all along Artorias was much harder than Manus, if you think about it. Because, like, if you actually really think about it, like, he's actually so much harder. It's tough because I think overall I spent more time on Manus, but I think once I figured Manus out, it was actually easier than Artorias. Like, Artorias just is diabolical. Sometimes he'll do 3 Sonic the Hedgehogs. Sometimes he'll do 4 Sonic the Hedgehogs. Sometimes he rips a Cold Slaw after 4 Sonic the Hedgehogs in a row. Then he throws poop on you. He just has a lot of devious things in the wheelhouse. He's very devious. Manus is just fast. I would argue that his power-ups are harder to deal with than Manus's magic. Yeah, Manus is harder to learn, but Artorias is harder to execute. Yeah, Manus took me longer, but Artorias, like, just a tricky little freak. I think we all know the easiest. Pinwheel is not only just, like, easy to fight, but he also has so little health. He dies so fast. I mean, he's a great boss to make you feel good about yourself. He's a feel-good boss. He's for the family. Your list on who would be the best hang, Pinwheel S tier. No, Pinwheel would not be fun to hang out with. He's like a dead family fused together. What about that says fun to have a couple beers with to you? Gwyn is pretty difficult. If we're talking like toll on my mental health and well-being, I have to give it to Ceaseless Discharge just because God. Ceaseless Discharge and Iron Golem, dude, those guys fucking... The amount of mental duress that Iron Golem put on me, knocking me off the stage 4,000 billion quadrillion times, it was a difficult time. But Ceaseless, I think I would say was worse for me mentally than Iron Golem. Iron Golem, I knew I could make it happen, but like Ceaseless, there was some parts that I was like, I just don't have anything left to believe in. I was hallucinating about ending periods for people with periods. I was listening to Sonic songs and just being so sad. I was in a war of my own mind. I think maybe Kalameet takes this. I think it's between Kalameet or Lord Gwyn. If you don't parry him, like, he's pretty substantial. Ooh, 4 Kings. I still think Kalameet's harder than 4 Kings. I think 4 Kings definitely belongs up here, though. I probably rank Gwyn above 4 Kings because Gwyn, when I fought Gwyn for the first time, he just, like, brought the relentless tech. Like, the way that he just keeps attacking you is kind of difficult to deal with. Sanctuary Guardian, I don't think was too tough. Maybe middle of the pack, honestly. Scorpion Demon, let's just call a spade a spade. Scorpion Demon, not hard. We stay under the Scorpion Wonder, and you're done. Still harder than Pinwheel, just by virtue of it having more health. The Gargoyles were easy for me, just because I fought Quelag first. I feel like the Gargoyles could have been a Quelag situation had I not already fought Quelag. Yeah, Hydra's easy. Hydra, I would say maybe a bit above Pinwheel, just because it has a gimmick you have to figure out. Quelag, I think, gotta go here. Just in my playthrough. The way it happened, Quelag was my first, like, big boss. Quelag probably over Gwyn, just because the position that I was in, I didn't have enough of the things that you can eat to cure your poison, so I would be not only fighting Quelag under-leveled with a crap weapon, but I was also poisoned. Seath is pretty decently, but Capra was kind of crazy. Now, bear in mind, I did fight Capra on New Game Plus. I don't know how that affects things. I would honestly rank Capra. It's just the dogs, man. I'm just losing my spark and losing my sense of life and well-being. Maybe Capra here. I would say Asylum Demon easier than Taurus Demon. However, on the other hand, I think that Stray Demon was pretty formidable. I would say Stray Demon like probably here. The Bed of Chaos is kind of a interesting entry because like in some regard, like it's barely a boss fight. Like it's really not even a boss fight. It's a platformer. I will say though, it's definitely harder than Gargoyles for the run back, for the pure RNG of like getting smacked in the same hole for 90 times. Gaping Dragon though, I'm gonna put maybe behind Seath. Seath is kind of hard, especially if you're trying to get the Moonlight Greatsword. That shit is running simulator, and it's kind of freaking hard. Yeah, and the invincibility thing, like if you don't realize the invincibility gimmick, then you're like Loki cook, because he's title card invincible, and he's evil, and he hates women. Fuck that guy. Dude, the great chat embargo of everyone just going silent when I walked up to Stray Demon, it was awesome. And in that moment, I knew we could play Dark Souls 2 together. Fire Sage is definitively not as hard as Stray Demon. Stray Demon, you fall down, you take a bit of fall damage. For me, personally, I'm gonna rank Ceaseless Discharge probably above 4K. As crazy as it is to say, because I didn't have the cheese, because it was just, you know, dare I quote Britney Spears and Madonna, me against the music. Like, it was so difficult and I almost cried, especially because I had just fought Nito. I just want something to be easy and nice, and then I got this. I thought about selling all my money in my 401k and Roth IRA and moving to the moon to suffocate and die one last time. I still might rank Iron Golem above Four Kings, just because of how many times it grabbed me and how many times I flew off the map. Hold on. Here's the Iron Golem grab hitbox visualized in real time. Oh, shout out to our hero, Domo 3000. Sub to Domo 3000. He's doing the Lord's work. That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy. He was over here. He was in a separate state. He was across county lines. Is it like on his foot? I think it's like part of his foot maybe is the reason. That's a huge hitbox. That's actually crazy. Yeah, like it's part on his foot. Sif is just sad. Sif is sad there. It's so sad when she's freaking sad. She's 10% health. Nothing is worse than killing your little friend and companion who you used to fight the evil scourge Manus. Nothing is worse. I think realistically, if we're just speaking, if we take the emotions out, if we set the emotions aside for a moment and just talk about the mechanics, I would say Sif probably goes low-key here. Is that bad? This is difficulty. This is not how much I love them. This is difficulty. It's difficulty. It's difficult. It's difficulty level. I know she's already dead. I fucking killed her. That's what this is about. Yeah, I don't know why Hydra is on the list and not Moonlight Butterfly. If we pretend that Hydra for a moment is Moonlight Butterfly, I mean, it probably is in the same spot, to be real, though. Okay, so I think this is the tier list based on how hard they were to fight. Obviously, the top 5 are the top 5 hardest bosses for me, and then F is just the easiest. But yeah, I think this is pretty solid. I don't know if it's my definitive, but I think this is just kind of a good vibe check. Girth is the final boss. Okay, now these are my top 5 favorites. These are the ones I liked. So F tier will be the ones that I hated. Did not like. I think it's not gonna be a shocker for me to say that Gravelord Nito is an F tier. Gravelord Nito is an F tier because here's the goddamn thing about Gravelord Nito. He's on the front cutscene of the video game. He's literally the first guy of like the 4 big guys listed, and then his fight is just his freaking skeleton lackeys hitting the shit out of me. Because I guess they got tired of thinking about all the cool moves that a guy named Gravelord Nito could do. They're part of him. I mean, that's cool, but they're also just like normal enemies in the video game, and they just put them in there with him. Nito, don't listen, you're perfect to me. He is far from perfect. He's rotting in gay hell as we speak. He does have okay, this is not about how cool he looks. He is cool looking. He would have done numbers on 2014 Tumblr, but it's not 2014 Tumblr. Top 5 is pretty much gonna be exactly like the top 5 difficulty, to be honest with you, because I loved Artorias. I love Manus. I freaking love Ornstein and Smo, the bastards. Where are they? Here they are. Their picture's so damn dark, can't fucking see them. Honestly, I love Iron Golem. I really, really liked Iron Golem. I kind of like the fact that he can knock you off. And then you go flying and you ragdoll. And it's awesome and crazy. Gwen is great. Calamite is fire too. These aren't definitive rankings. I'm just throwing them all up there right now. But I think Artorias is for sure number 2. And Ornstein and Smo is definitely number 1. Quelag bottom half enjoyer. Me personally, I enjoy Quelag from the bottom up. Now, the Duchess's beautiful lady or whatever? No. I'm out. Sharks, I'm out. Miss me with the double-headed spider. I'm out. Duke's dear Freya. Yeah. What did I call it? The Duchess's little guy or something? Duchess's little guy could be an awesome sequel to Duke's dear Freya. Expecting to see the Duchess's little guy in Dark Souls 3. Or Elden Ring. Okay. I think this top row is more or less correct. I think I definitely like Quelag more than Calamite. I love Stray Demon, actually. I think Stray Demon is a really, really unique experience because you fall down there and it's awesome. Okay, yeah, Stray Demon is a reskin, but he blows up and you fall down the hole and it's like kind of surprising and kind of awesome. I feel like Asylum Demon is a cool first fight. Now, here's where I'll say that Demon Fire Sage is just a reskin. I mean, visually, he's more interesting. But I think conceptually, Stray Demon is more interesting because you fall down the hole, suddenly he's blowing up. I think Asylum Demon is an iconic first boss, and it would be hard to say Asylum Demon down here because it's just really, like, cool to start the game off with a broken-ass sword and you walk in a room and this fucking guy's here, and he has a giant BBL, and he's gonna fucking kill the shit out of you, and it's awesome. And I want him to. He's a beautiful big fat butt. Is it crazy that I don't hate Bed of Chaos? Is that so crazy? You can pick up the torches and pitchforks. You can. I kind of like the whimsy that he can just fucking throw you in the holes. Is that crazy to say? I think it's just a silly ass boss fight. I think it's, you know, tough to say that it deserves C tier above some of these. So I will put it F, but I won't put it bottom of F. I think Seath is an asinine and kind of pointless boss fight. Like, I wish they'd done something with him. Seath and Nito probably make me the maddest because, like, they're on the front cutscene. They're on the cutscene. They talk about this guy for like a full 10 seconds. They're like, and he was so crazy and epic and he betrayed all the dragons and it was crazy. And also, he rode with Lord Gwyn. Do you remember that he rode with Lord Gwyn? He's just a fucking guy that I have to chase around. And maybe he curses me. Not me, though. Hey, y'all stay safe. Y'all stay safe. He ain't cursing me. He's not cursing me. Y'all stay safe, though. Do I even know what curse does? I've heard rumors. Four Kings, though, I kind of fuck with. They're beautiful twinks who look like the elves from Lord of the Rings, and they keep spawning and they shoot lasers. And the Abyss is cool. And the idea that it takes up one of your ring slots is a cool mechanic. And also the way the bonfire in the Abyss looks from far away is just dynamite. Four Kings arena budget 0. But they did it in a cool way. It's like how in like OG Silent Hill, the fog was also because they needed to save like RAM on the PlayStation. But like, what would Silent Hill be without the cool ass fog? Sometimes brilliance can be low effort. Killing Pinwheel is just kind of whatever. It's just like a necessary evil. It's like when you have to air up your tires. Sif is just fantastic. Like, there's so many aspects about Sif's like story that even though her fight is very easy, I think she easily goes up here. She and Quelag can kind of shake hands in a we have a tragic but beautiful story tier. I would say though, for me, Quelag's fight is a bit above just because of like the emotional connection I have, not to her beautiful breasts, but to the fact that she was my first like big boss. And like, I spent all this time like trying to beat her, and then I beat her and it was awesome and fun. And then also like finding out the terrible lore about her afterwards is awesome. The beautiful breasts don't hurt necessarily. You know, they definitely do add to her case, so to speak. And it's not just the women, exactly. Smo also had big, beautiful breasts. And you know what? Beautiful nipples too, King. Great nipples. Great nipples, big guy. Way to go. And I think conceptually, Four Kings definitely belongs up here. I really like the concept from Kalameet that he has the debuff he can do on you that does more damage against you once he grabs you. On the 9th day, the Lord made it clap. And maybe he did. Who's to say that Judas and Jesus Christ weren't enemies to lovers? To enemies back to lovers. It was like Jason Victor kind of situation, if you think about it. I liked the facets of Sanctuary Guardian, like he has the poison butt. That was cool. He flies. He does a weird wing water move. Also, there was 2 of them. That was cool. As a Dark Souls 2 enjoyer, sometimes it's cool when there's 2 of them. Sometimes more is cool. Sometimes more is worse. Lost Bastille. What were we doing? What were we doing? I opened that one door and it was the worst day of my life. There were so many enemies. Why did they put them all there? What were they all doing in there? Like, did they all go on their lunch break and then that random hollow guy got turned stone? And then they were permanently in their lunch break for the next 100 years. I like the Scorpion because of its design. Like, he looks awesome. He looks like a mech. His fight was just kind of easy. I came up with one little catchphrase and then I beat him. He's honestly worse than Fire Sage for me. I liked Fire Sage fight. I liked the fight. I just ranked it F. I mean, it's hard because Dark Souls 1 is like a 10/10 video game. There's none of these bosses that I'm like, I hate them. I would never ever do it again. They're just not like that to me. Like, I love this game. Yeah, to me, Bed of Chaos is kind of like a delightful little rascal. It's like I hate him, but kind of in like a, oh, you little guy. Ah, you hit me in the pit again for the 70th time. I feel like Bed of Chaos would be infinitely worse in Dark Souls 2. Just because of how slippery Dark Souls 2 is. Also, there would be 5 of them. It would be just a big, like, octagon of Bed of Chaoses. Looking forward to the Bed of Chaos octagon. May it find me in my worst moment. I love the gargoyles. I love the idea of, like, the surprise. And here comes fucking John Cena from the top rope. It's another gargoyle. And he runs in, he breathes fire all over you. I love the, like, WrestleMania-fication of the gargoyles fight. Like, holy fuck, it's Triple H. I think gargoyles are kind of like Asylum Demon in that they kind of have some of the OG swag. I think a lot of people may be sad about that because they probably feel similarly to the gargoyles that I feel towards Quelag, but that's just, I'm sorry, that's my experience. I fought Quelag first. I saw her beautiful breasts. Did it change my life? To some degree, maybe. Why is the Iron Golem in your top 5? Look, me and the Iron Golem have history. I think Capra's definitely more interesting than Taurus Demon. The dogs are so stinky. Why did we put the dogs there? The dogs are kind of Gravelord Nito tier in that, why would we put additional enemies in when we could just make the boss more interesting? But I guess the dogs do make the boss more interesting, but they also have the side effect of trapping me in a corner and making me want to fucking lose my mind. I like the idea of walking up to dog owners and being like, why aren't you more interesting instead of just having a dog? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Capra got a dog and made it his whole personality, and we don't always want to talk about the dog. We don't always want to talk. We love your dog. Your dog is awesome and cool. I love your dog. It's so cute. Why is it trapping me in a corner and killing me over and over? Why is it doing that? Take it to the vet. I don't think it should do that. Ceaseless? Where would I put Ceaseless? Where wouldn't I put Ceaseless? Probably within the vicinity of like any school. Probably wouldn't put him next to a hospital. Could drop him next to a government building. Might be fire. Might be fire. How would the Pentagon react to Ceaseless Discharge? Ceaseless is difficult for me because I like him in concept and in theory, but also when I fight him, I can't help but get the feeling of why am I doing this? He's not great, but he is just doing his best. Let's talk about our beautiful dragon wife. Let's talk about our beautiful dragon wife. Why did her world have the bone men? Why did her world have the wheels? Yeah, she was just cooling in there. Feet out. Mechanically, you have to look at her feet. That is, I would say whimsical, but it's bordering on... I feel like Jeremiah was probably like a borderline pick. Like, they put everyone in first, and then they were like, okay, we've got this guy. Lord Gwyn, before you go on your PTO, you do have to tell us, what do you want to do with Jeremiah? And he's like, God damn it, just fucking throw him in the painting, bro. Mods, put him in a painting. Mods, banish him infinitely into the painted world of Ariamis. Where do we put her and her beautiful, awesome feet? Yeah, I think this boss fight, like, I could honestly give it maybe... like here. But that's the tier list. This is, I think, a pretty accurate depiction of the bosses that I liked most in Dark Souls 1. Ornstein and Smough was just an awesome experience. I think the whole fight and then the payoff from winning the fight was just incredible. Artorias is just an awesome fight. It feels good when you learn the fight. It's just cool. He has an awesome, cool moveset where he freaking turns into Sonic the Hedgehog and does an unknown number of flips and styles on your shit. Gwyn is just a great ending boss fight. It just feels good. The song is amazing. The experience is just really, really good. It's fun to learn. It's pleasantly difficult. Gwyn is fire. No pun intended. Gwyn is good. Man, it's just an onslaught. He's absolutely crazy. Just a manic panic of a fight until you kind of learn and figure out how to deal with it. And when you learn and figure out how to deal with it, it feels good, and it feels good to beat him. And he keeps you stressing towards the end. I either like in a Dark Souls boss fight, like the feeling of knowing that I have it down and there's nothing that can take me down, which is how I felt with Ornstein and Smough, or the kind of panicky feeling of like, I might still lose this. Like, I could still throw this. And that's how I felt with Artorias and Manus. And honestly, Iron Golem. Iron Golem, I definitely still felt like at all points I could still throw it, just because the state I was in, I wasn't doing a lot of damage. He could knock me off the platform. His grab is crazy. We saw the hitbox. It's on his fucking foot. With Bed of Chaos, at least I'm like working towards something. With this, I'm just like, eh. Like, I would rather you make me feel something than make me feel nothing. And Seath kind of made me feel nothing. And I think Bed of Chaos is also just iconic. Everyone has an opinion on Bed of Chaos. You can't play Dark Souls 1 without having an experience or a story out of Bed of Chaos. And I think that's important. I think that's awesome. Dark Souls is just bomb. Simply Dark Souls is bomb, and I will not be taking any questions on the matter. No questions or comments on the matter. Dark Souls is bomb.